Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a what sold video for you guys. So this is my sales over the month of January. I'm not going to go over every single one of my sales just because that video would be way too long and way too boring. So what I did is I picked my top 30 sales from the month of January, and those are what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. So if you don't know already, if you're new here to my channel, my name is Kayla and I am a reseller, mostly on Poshmark, but I do sell a little bit on eBay and Mercari as well. And the sales that I'm going to go over today I think are really good to kind of follow along, just because I am going to be sharing some good brands that I like to pick up that sell well for me, and then also just some styles, trends that are really in right now that I definitely think you guys should be on the lookout for. So let's go ahead and get started. I have my little notebook here. This is where I keep track of my monthly sales. What I do is I have little sections where I write down what site it sold on, because I like to keep track of how many sales I have been making on each site. And then also what the item is. I have a little section for my cost of good. So how much the item cost me. I have my sold for, so what the item sold for section, and then my profit post fees. So after Poshmark, Mercari, eBay, they all take a certain percentage from your total sale, and then I also like to subtract my cost of good to find out exactly what I made on the item. So the first thing I'm going to start with, I'm going to pop up little pictures on the screen to show you guys what the item looked like so you can see them. And I'm going to share with you how much the item sold for and then how much I profited after fees. So that number is after Poshmark, Mercari, or eBay took their fee out, and after I took out my cost of good. So those are the two numbers I'm going to share with you guys today. So the first thing that sold was a Lululemon pullover. This sold on Poshmark for $35, and after fees I was left with $22.51. Lululemon is definitely a brand that I will always pick up when I see it, as long as it is in good condition and the style is a good style. Obviously, if it's like an older, outdated piece, I'll leave it behind. The next item I sold on Mercari, this was a vintage Patagonia fleece pullover. The cool thing about this is it was reversible. It was like a fleece material on one side and a windbreaker material on the other. And I really, really liked this piece. This was definitely one of my favorites. It sold for $35, and I was left with $21.51 after fees. I also picked up this vintage Obermeyer sweater. This sold on Poshmark. It was really cool, 80s, 90s style. It had that really high turtleneck, and it sold for full asking price of $35, and I was left with $21.01 after fees. The next item I sold was a pair of Lucky Brand wedges. These actually sold over on Mercari. This is definitely, Lucky Brand is one of my go-to brands that I like to pick up, but this style of wedge is also, I think, very trendy. These little short booties like this I think are perfect for the spring and summer, and I think you'll be seeing a lot of them. These sold for $25 on best offer, and I was left with $16.53 after fees. This next piece, the brand was a new to me brand, but it sold surprisingly really, really fast. So it's definitely a brand I'll be looking out for in the future. The brand is Haydari, and this was a very oversized bohemian looking dress. I used the word lagging look to kind of layered look to describe this dress in my listing, and I think this style is also very, very popular and will do really well. It sold for $50 on Poshmark, which was an offer made to me that I went ahead and accepted. I was left with $35 after fees. I also sold this Fuzzy Nation backpack. This bag was really cool. I picked it up because of the cool graphic on the front. It had a little French bulldog, which I thought was really awesome. I do have 2 dogs myself, but neither one of them are French bulldogs, so I didn't keep it. But if I did have a French bulldog, I would have loved to have that bag. It was so cute. But that sold for $30, and I believe that was a full price sale, and I was left with $18.03 after fees. I also sold these earth flats on Poshmark. They were a really cool brown kind of distressed leather look and very comfy. I love the Earth brand. I think that they're very comfy shoes, and those sold for $35, which was full asking price. Sorry about that. So that was full asking price as well, and I was left with $23.03 after fees. This next piece was actually a very popular piece. This is a brand that I do look out for. So the brand is Sundance, and this was a really pretty like velvet, kind of like burnout style tunic. It was beautiful. When I did look it up online, it seemed to be a very highly sought after piece. So I was really excited to see that. And it sold very, very fast within, I think, a couple of days. This actually sold on Mercari, and I sent out an offer to my likers for $45, and someone accepted. And after fees, I was left with $36.51. Okay, so this next sweater, this sold on Poshmark. It was Talbot's, and was the brand, which is a brand that I will pick up. I am a little selective with it. I don't pick up every piece, but if there's a piece that I really like, I will pick it up. And I did really like this. It was kind of like a waffle knit pullover sweater with a hood, and it sold on through the buyer making an offer to me for $23, and I was left with $16.40 after fees. This next piece I sold was a J. Crew sweater. I also really love J. Crew. I personally love J. Crew. I have some pieces in my own wardrobe, but I do pick it up to resell as well. But again, I'm very selective, very picky. I only pick up certain styles, and of course the items have to be in good condition. This sweater was really neat. It had little jewels all over it, which I thought was absolutely beautiful. This sweater sold off of the buyer making an offer to me for $28, which I went ahead and accepted, and I was left with $18.41 after fees. And then on eBay, I sold a cabbie tank top, and this was a new label cabbie. I do like picking up cabbie as well, especially the new label, but again, I'm selective with the style on this brand as well. This tank top was really cool. It was kind of like a sheer white material, it was sheer like white material in the front, and then it had like a mesh back piece where like the material split open in the back. It was really pretty, and that sold on eBay for $18, and I was left with $14.70 after fees. This next sale that I'm going to tell you about, you guys, this was my best sale of the entire month. I had been sitting on this jacket for a few months, and as the winter months were kind of coming to an end, I was getting a little nervous that it wasn't going to sell, but it did, and I'm super happy. So this was a D squared, I believe is how you say the brand, jacket. It was made in Italy, and I had it listed, I believe, at $200, and then I think I lowered the price to $175. And I received an offer for $150 on eBay, and I went ahead and accepted that offer, and after fees I was left with $120 profit. So definitely my best sell of the month. I was really excited to see that one go. So my next sale was on Poshmark, and it was a BNCI tweed blazer. BNCI is another brand I like to pick it up. I don't see it that often, but when I do, if it's a good style, I'll pick it up. I have sold 2 pieces in this brand, and they're the only 2 pieces that I picked up, and they actually both sold relatively quickly, so definitely a brand to be out on the lookout for. This sold for $25, and I was left with $15.51 after fees. This next piece actually sold overnight. This was a Free People cardigan. It was really neat because it had this beautiful like lace detailing down the back, and that sold on best offer of $25, and I made $16.50. $2.01 after fees. This next piece I sat on for a little while, but I do think I listed it in the wrong season. It was a beautiful silk dress. The brand is Joie, and this sold on Poshmark. I think it was definitely more spring and summery, which is why it may have took a little bit longer to sell, but I was happy to see it go. It did sell for $35, and I was left with $21.51 after fees. This next jacket, this was BCBG Max Azria, and this jacket I actually picked up at a Goodwill outlet in Denver. That was my first time ever at a Goodwill outlet. I didn't have a chance to stay very long. I just kind of popped in. I was driving through that way to take my sister to the airport. So that was really cool that I was able to stop. I wish I was able to stay there a little bit longer. But this jacket was really cool. It was part of their runway collection, and it sold off best offer for $30, and I was left with $22 after fees. This next dress, not a brand that I typically look out for. I don't think I've ever picked this brand up. I don't know if I'll ever pick it up again. This dress did sell very quickly, but I picked this dress up off of Style. The floral pattern on this dress was absolutely beautiful. It photographed so beautifully, which I think was definitely a selling point for this dress. And the brand was Phase 7, which I had never heard of, but it sold for $30 on Poshmark. I was left with $18 after fees. The next item is actually a pair of sneakers. This style of slip-on sneakers, I've sold multiple in the past, and they have all sold very, very quickly. So definitely a style to be on the lookout for. This brand was Steve Madden, and they had little metallic stars all over them. Super, super awesome looking. These sold on Mercari off. I can't remember if I sent this offer out or the person made the offer to me, but they sold for $32, and I was left with $21.81 after fees. This next sweater I was really happy to see go. I actually sat on this sweater for a lot longer than I thought I would, and it actually sold for a lot lower of price than I thought it was going to sell for, but I still was happy with my profit on it, and I was happy to see it go. So this was a J. Crew 100% cashmere sweater. It was really pretty. I did think I was going to get a little bit more for it because it was cashmere, but I did take a best offer on eBay just because I had been sitting on it for quite a while with no offers. So I sold it for $24 on eBay, and after fees I was left with $18.61. This next top actually sold within 24 hours of posting, which I was really surprised. This is not a brand I typically pick up all the time. I will pick it up if the style is really awesome or if it is a vintage piece. But this brand is Tommy Hilfiger, and this sold on Mercari for full asking price of $25, and I was left with $18.51 after all fees. Okay, you guys, this next item is probably one of my favorite items that I have ever sold, ever thrifted. I absolutely loved this piece. It was a vintage Malibu jacket with this rainbow stripe pattern that came across the front and onto the back. I thought it was very cool, very trendy, perfect for like the spring and summer and festival seasons coming up. So I knew this piece was going to do really well. And it did. It sold within, I think, 1 or 2 days on Mercari. And this was off of best offer of $35. I was left with $23.51 after fees. Okay, and I know I just said that was one of my favorite items that I've ever sold, but this next item was also one of my favorite items that I've ever sold. They're both vintage pieces, and they're both just very cool. They stood out. The patterns on them were super awesome. This piece also sold relatively quickly. It was a Jones, New York lemon cherry print top, and I think the print is 100% what sold this piece. It was absolutely beautiful. It screamed, you know, summertime with the cherry and lemon print on it. Definitely a really cool piece, and that sold on Poshmark for $35, and I was left with $22.51 after all fees. This next sweater actually sold overnight, and I might have priced it a little bit low after looking at comps, but I'm still happy with my profit margin, and I do like to flip my inventory a little bit quickly. But this was an artesian 100% alpaca sweater, and it sold on Poshmark for full asking price of $35. I was left with $25 after fees. Really pretty, really boho, very festive, bright colors. Definitely a really cool sweater, and it also had little alpaca across the front of it too, which I thought was really cool. And this next thing is a pair of jeans that I sold on Poshmark. This was my first time finding Mother jeans, which is definitely a brand to look out for when you are looking through the jean rack. This was definitely very exciting for me because I've never found Mother jeans in good condition before, and these ones were in great condition, and they sold very quickly. I sold them for $30 on Poshmark, and I was left with $18.01 after fees, and I do believe I took a best offer on that pair of jeans. This next sale was a bundle, and the bundle was an Athleta pair of Athleta joggers, and then a really cool kind of acid wash distressed button-up flannel, and the brand on that flannel was Sneak Peek, which I believe is sold at Nordstrom Rack. And both of those pieces I absolutely loved. If they were my size, I would have been tempted to keep both of them. But that sold in a bundle for $40, and after fees, I was left with $21.52. And then I have two pairs of boots that I sold. So the first one is a pair of Eileen Fisher boots. These sold on Poshmark off of best offer for $50, and I was left with $32 after fees. I was really excited to find Eileen Fisher shoes. I've never found any Eileen Fisher shoes before. I have found a couple of tops, so that was really a cool find for me. And then I also sold a pair of Joie Chelsea style boots. These were really awesome. I loved these boots. They sold on Poshmark off of best offer of $85, and I was left with $55 after fees. This next piece, this is another style. This is one of my bread and butter brands. I love picking up this brand, but also I think this style in other brands will do well too. But it was a Ralph Lauren denim looking dress, like long shirt dress, and I think that those are very trendy, very in style. I think you'll see a lot of them in the spring and summertime. So definitely a style to be looking out for, but Ralph Lauren is also a brand that I like to pick up too if the style is good, or if I find a really cool vintage piece. But this dress sold for $30 on best offer. I was left with $19 after fees. This next top I actually sat on for a couple months in my closet, and I wasn't really getting very much attention to this listing, so I wasn't sure how this was going to do. But then I had somebody put in an offer to me, which I went ahead and accepted. It was a very cute top. This brand actually retails for quite a bit, so I definitely didn't make as much as I thought I would on this top, but I was still happy with the return. This brand is Worth New York, and it was a really cute like short sleeve sweater top with a bicycle print on it, which I really liked. It sold for $28 on best offer. I was left with $19.91 after fees. And then this next sale was actually on Mercari. I do sell a lot of, this is another Patagonia piece, and a lot of my Patagonia pieces actually sell on Mercari. I do sell some on Posh too, but it seems like they always go really fast on Mercari. So this was a Patagonia quarter zip fleece pullover. It sold within 24 hours of listing on best offer of $25. I was left with $17.51 after fees. And that is it, you guys. So that is my top 30 sales of the month of January. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it kind of gives you some idea of what is selling for me. Now just remember that just because something works for me doesn't necessarily mean that it, is gonna sell well for you. I have been working really hard over this last month to kind of curate my closet and develop a style, which I'm continuing to do over the next couple of months. So definitely something to think about when you are sourcing items for your closet. I know some people just pick up based off of brands and they'll sell whatever, and that works too for a lot of people, and that is fine. I just like to pick up items that excite me and that I like and that I would wear, just because those are the types of things that I personally like to sell. I did go thrifting a couple of days ago, and I have a huge haul to show you guys. So if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button down below. Also hit the little bell notification so you can be notified when I do upload more videos. But I will be filming that haul video here shortly, and I will get that up for you guys to see as well. And yeah, that is it. If you guys have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave them down below. I hope you guys are all having a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.